Finding your path is the first step on the journey of self-awareness, and it sets your life up for freedom and happiness and joy. Finding your own path is not about, just doing whatever. It's about doing what you value and, doing what's in your heart and not living for the sake of others, but living for the sake of yourself. And I want to talk about that today because it's something I've been experiencing, and it's just been the most awesome part of my journey of life so far. And I want to share it with y'all. So most people don't do this. They fall into the roles that society or school or their parents put upon them. They just do what they're told, you know, and we don't think for ourselves. We don't go out and say, hey, some of us we don't go and be like, hey, what about that? I want to do that. And we don't really chase it, a lot of times because we're afraid of what people think. We're afraid of what somebody else might say, or you know, what our parents would think of us, or what our parents or what school or society, you know, thinks we should be. And you know, we internalize all this other stuff, and we don't listen to ourselves. We don't follow what we want to do. So my experience with this, I like kung fu, and so I chose to do kung fu. But it took a lot of it. Well, it took me starting to do kung fu, but it also took me really experiencing kung fu to say I want to do this with my life. And at first, I wasn't confident about it. I some people were saying you need to just stay in school. You need to just work a job. Just do this. Just do that. You need to stick to this. How you gonna get paid doing kung fu? You just gonna be a broke martial artist. My family members would say these things, and I would listen. I was just taking it in like, oh, okay. But then, I had an experience where I went to China, and I went to China and did kung fu, competed on the highest level, and it it opened my eyes further to the possibility of me doing kung fu as a lifestyle, as like a career. And so after I came back from China, I was like, how do I make this my life? How do I how can I how can I do the kung fu? How can I really do this? How can I be the kung fu movie star that I want to be? How can I be the, superstar martial artist or whatever? And I thought about it, and I started training harder, and I, just kind of started dialing in more and reading about it, watching more movies, just diving into it. And opportunities started opening up, and things started opening up for me to where I could start going in the direction of, teaching kung fu, or one day being in a movie. You know, it it set me on the path to doing that by just saying, okay, this is what I want to do, and starting to follow it. Just working out every day, starting to train. Just going at it with an attitude of I'm gonna make this my life. And so, it's just going for it. We listen to everybody else. We don't listen to ourselves. The first step is looking for what you want to do, finding out what it is you want to do. Finding your passion. Becoming self-aware of what is Caillou want, or what do you want? What do you want out of life? What do you want to eat? Who do you want to talk to? Who do you want to be around? Or what goals do you want to accomplish? What job do you want? What do you want to learn about? You know, like like I said before, we get stuck on what others want out of us. We get stuck on what society wants out of us, and we don't look within. This can go deep this can go into spiritual beliefs. This can go into anything. It's just about looking within and then just plan it out, and then work it out. You know, you, if you, for me, for instance, I want to be a world champion in Kung Fu. You know, I'm going to plan out what can I do to put myself on the path to become a world champion. You know, I'm going to have to practice. I'm going to have to get my sleeping habits down. I'm going to have to get my eating habits together. I got to, train my body right. I got to take care of my body so I'm not always getting sick, or, so it's not taken away from training. I got to do this. I got to wear, decent clothes. I got to, you have to plan it out and try to live out your plan. Live out the plan that you set to, do whatever it is you want to do. If you want to be a scientist, if you want to be I don't know, chemical engineer, what does it take to become a chemical engineer? And look at the steps, research it, and start. I think it's just about, again, learning what you want, ignoring the doubters, and planning for success. It's, you might fail a little bit, you might fall off sometimes, but it's all in the direction of following your path. If the overall thought in your head is, I want to do this, I want to follow this path, then that's what will drive you. That's what'll, you'll keep that in the back of your mind when you don't feel like it, or when you don't feel like doing something, or when that person's coming down on you talking about, you shouldn't do that, but you suck at that, or you do this, you do this. No, you got to repeat it in your head that this is what I want to do. This is what I enjoy. This is how I feel about it. And you keep it moving. Like, and that's another thing. Like, it'll translate to other parts of your life. Like when you start to follow your path, when you start to become aware of what it is that you want, because some people will present you with other things that are not what you want, and you'll be more keen to say no. It'll be easier to just not get distracted or not be put off of whatever it is that you're doing, because that that's not where you're going. Like, you say you want to work out, your goal is to lift this amount of weights, or run this amount of miles. If you want to run 20 miles and somebody, one of your old friends offers you a joint, you're probably not going to smoke it. It's because like, hey, this is taken away from my lungs, this is taken away from my health, so I'm not going to do it. And then you'll get haters. You'll get the people who want to take away from what you're doing. You got people who think that there will be people who think you're better than them, and they will flip it as if you're acting better than them when you're not. You're just doing you. You shining your light, but people will project their insecurities, and that's something you'll have to be aware of too. Because people can emotionally manipulate you to get away from what you're doing. People will try very hard to stop you if they feel like you're threatening them. If you're threatening their control over your life, or you're threatening their influence over you. It can be very volatile at times. I know personally, I have family members who, just would just rag on me because I'm doing my Kung Fu, I'm enjoying it, and I'm not with the program, I guess. I'm not with the other stuff that you're trying to put on me that I don't really want for my life. It's just, I'm not with it. So yeah, you'll have outside influences telling you to stop. You'll have people trying to take away from your light. Don't mind that. That's a sign, sometimes it's a sign that you're growing. Sometimes it's just what's gonna happen. Another thing I noticed when I started following my path, going on my own journey, is that people like you you naturally become, I believe, more of a leader. You become, I don't know, sometimes you can see what needs to be done. Sometimes you can see what's going on in other people's lives. Like you can see where to help somebody else along their journey. Like somebody might talk to you, hey man, I'm doing this and that. You encourage them. You become more encouraging because you know what it felt like to, you know, have to walk your own way. You see this person trying to go their own way, and you're like, yeah, heck yeah. So you become more of a leader in that way. You become like a positive role model to others, and so yeah, you'll become more of a leader. You'll be more confident in yourself. You'll have more conviction in the things that you do. You'll become more intentional about what you do, and yeah. So follow your path, guys. Don't waver. Get started now. You know, find out what you like, and don't let nobody take you off your square. It's simple but not easy. So that's all I have for you today. Have a good day.